Hey, welcome to Diamonds and Rust. I'm your host, the Stray Cat. If there's one thing the 80s loved to do, it's combine two great elements, hard rock and horror. When done correctly, the two complemented each other perfectly, such as in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, or in Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. When not done correctly, we get shit like Rock and Roll Nightmare. The film stars rock frontman John Michael Thor, along with his band the Tritons. Thor, for those not familiar, was a former Mr. Canada bodybuilding champion turned rock star. His image was that of a gladiator or a Viking, not too unlike bands like Manowar. Known for his onstage theatrics more than his music, he often displayed his strength by doing things like bending steel bars and blowing up hot water bottles. In 1987, he wrote, produced, and starred in Rock and Roll Nightmare. His music, I must say, is pretty solid and hard-hitting, so let's see how his film is. The film begins in a farmhouse where we see a woman cooking breakfast for her husband and son. She is attacked by an unseen presence. Her husband hears her screams and goes downstairs to investigate. His intuition leads him to the oven of all places, and he finds this. Oh, this is gonna be bad. The credits roll, and Edge of Hell. What's with these B-movies and their multiple titles? Cut to a kick-ass song as we see a van driving down the freeway. But not being a fan of his own music, Thor switches the radio over to the film's score. For the next 5 minutes, we get suspenseful shots of the van driving. After filming their entire trip in real time, the van eventually arrives at the farmhouse from the opening scene. Here we are introduced to Thor and the Tritons, a rock band here to record an album, along with their girlfriends and their manager.
It's a goddamn farm!
She must be the smart one.
So now we're here to rehearse our new album.
Oh, or lose our advance.
Or lose our advance. We've got a month to come up with 10 minutes of new good material.
Friggin' great. But why Canada?
What a convincing dialect. He must have graduated from the Kevin Costner School of Accents.
Because Toronto's where it's happening, man. The music, the film industry, the arts.
Yes, lots of great bands come out of Toronto. And by lots, I mean about 2.
Sticky baby, why couldn't you become a coke dealer or something sensible?
Yeah, who wants to be a rock star when you can do something much more noble, like selling coke? We then meet Carl, our film's comic relief.
They came here with Alice Blooper.
Cooper.
Yeah.
And
This is not the first band that's been here.
No,
you know.
really?
No. We had Bob Stewart here.
God, did he have
Yeah.
the keys? One key? Did he have them?
I'm sorry, the 2 I was referring to were Rush and Anvil, but I did fail to mention greats like Alice Blooper and Bob Stewart. So without any distractions like phones, TVs, or chairs, the band rehearses in the barn. As the women do what all groupies do, like sewing and absent-mindedly filing their nails. During the song, that's actually pretty good, we see a rubber puppet that I'm not sure if I should be censoring or not. The rubber dickhead vomits in the drink of one of the girlfriends. We have to assume she drinks it, since she appears to be possessed in the next scene, where she attacks the band's manager. Later that night, the drummer shows us how bad his Austrian accent is.
Your clothes. Give them to me. Now.
He is attacked by some random chick, whose scene only exists so that Thor can show us how stacked his then-girlfriend was. Four groupies in training show up at the house and are greeted by the possessed manager, who lets them know what their duties as groupies are, much to their surprise.
So, let's whip out those breasts, girls.
What?
I thought you girls were here for the jobs.
Now,
Let's go down to the basement. I have something to show you.
While doing the dishes the next morning, the bass player is attacked, followed by his wife. this movie really doesn't like Thor's music. Thor then dismisses the absence of the bass player and assumes the position himself, as the band rehearses another song.
Stig, great work, man.
Yeah, I feel like a changed man.
The drummer, who's decided to give up on his bad Australian accent, takes a walk to the lake with his girlfriend. Once there, he attacks her with his rubber third arm.
So am I.
After sex, the guitar player and the keyboard player find the kid from earlier. He runs off and they go looking for him.
Come on, little guy.
Though they act as though they're looking for a lost puppy instead of a kid.
Hey, little fella. Come on out.
Yeah, come on out. We're not gonna hurt you. We just want to meet you.
This does, however, make a bit more sense once we see the awful makeup effect. He attacks the two and we're left with only Thor and his girlfriend.
Enough is enough already. I mean, we are supposed to try and get something accomplished up here. How are we supposed to rehearse our new album and tour when everybody's running off trying to scratch a 7-year itch?
After another dishwashing scene, Thor goes to the fridge to get a Coke. When did a roasted chicken become possessed? More to the point, why? The demon kid finds Thor's girlfriend in the bathroom.
What are you doing here, little boy?
As Thor is writing a song using music notes, we see more dickheads and puppets stalking him. His girlfriend, now possessed, shows up and reveals to Thor the movie's plot.
You haven't been listening to me. I told you they were dead, and so am I.
Thor plays it too cool for school when the devil himself is revealed, and surprises the devil with a plot twist of his own.
You've killed no one, bub. What? Or is it less familiar to call you Beelzebub?
What's your woman? The others, your band, your groupies. What of them?
Never here, bub. Merely shadows I created to entertain your little friends. Juicy little souls to bring you out into the open. Just characters I drew from horror movies.
The Peckerheads look on for no other reason than to show us how awful the effects are.
Rise, my brothers.
As Thor explains, he is an archangel intent on doing battle with evil.
I am the intercessor.
Now donning a ridiculous costume, Thor fends off some mad balls. He then engages in hand-to-hand combat with the satanic puppet. Thor apparently wins the fight, and in the final shot we see an empty suburban street, which doesn't make much sense. Well, that concludes Rock and Roll Nightmare. And do I really have to say anything? Since silence is not my strong suit, I will anyway. Rust. The film was supposedly shot in 7 days, and it's obvious they had a very small budget to work with. But that's no excuse for this piece of shit. And believe it or not, there was a sequel made in 2006 called Intercessor, Another Rock and Roll Nightmare. And it makes this thing look like Citizen Kane by comparison. No shit. But that's for another time. Well, until the next time, I'm the Stray Cat, and this was Diamonds and Rust.
What's the sound?